Welcome to today's edition of Religious Vocation Digest. It's been a very long time I appeared on your screens because we went for that 1 month break in order to pray the rosary together. We are back this and every Thursday on Cafdil TV, also on Facebook Cafdil Cape Coast and YouTube Cafdil EDU. Let's have a short break here. When we come back, we'll begin the conversation.
Now and forevermore.
Sweet infant Jesus,
I give you my heart.
Hello everyone. This is Society of the Infant Jesus. This society was established in 1961 by the late Most Reverend John Kojo Emisa of blessed memory. This bishop saw the need to establish this congregation because the white sisters were getting old and some were going back to their countries. So he decided to establish this congregation to take over from these white sisters. This is our charism, to incarnate the word, which is God with us, and make him present in the world. How do we make God present in the world? We are into various apostolates, which includes
Catering service, procurement officer,
data,
fashion designer, biomedical scientist.
We have students also in our midst. She is studying accounting and she is Cecilia. We are inviting you young ladies to come and join us. It's a beautiful life. The work is so much for us. We need more of you to come and join us so that together we can win more souls for Christ. Sweet infant Jesus,
I give you my heart.
Please, if you want to contact us, you can call on 0244 042004. 0244 042004. The more you honor me,
The more I will bless you.
Mobiara Akwa Babioba, Cafdil TV. This is Religious Vocation Digest. Today we have another sister here to share her vocation story with us. I am Sister Marian, your host. We go straight to our guest for today as she introduced herself to us. Sister Martha, good evening and welcome to Cafdil TV.
Good evening and thank you, sister.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Long time.
Really, it is.
My viewers are missing you.
Is that so?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah, so who is Sister Martha Davis?
Oh, okay. I'm from Cape Coast.
Okay.
But my hometown is Mankasim Nkwanta.
Okay.
And we are the royals there.
Oh.
So probably if I hadn't become a religious, I would
You'd
have been a queen mother.
And I repeat, you look like one already.
I see. And I schooled in Cape Coast. And I went to secondary school in St. Rose's all the way in Akwetia in the eastern region.
Okay.
And then for sixth form, I came to Infantiman, Cape Coast. Then after that, I went to, I think it was during the sixth form era that the whole story began. But if I may take you back a bit, when I was in class 1, I was in this school, St. Mary's primary school, just close to the cathedral, Cape Coast. And of course, I was the smallest person in the whole school. And the school was the whole school, and the school was manned by the OLA sisters.
Okay.
But I didn't know them. But all I knew was that they were sisters. And one of them took keen interest in me. And she used to send the boarders. I was a day girl. She used to send the boarders during break time to come and call me for some, I will call it medicine.
Okay.
But when I tasted the medicine, it was more than medicine. It was very sweet. And every break time, this woman continuously sent for me, and I will go and take the medicine. Is it 2 tablespoonfuls? And I used to enjoy it. But I didn't know what kind of medicine it was. So anytime I came back, I would tell my fellow day students that, you pray that the sisters will call you up there in their convent. When I go, they give me proper sweet. It was when I grew, later on, I got to know that because of my structure, they thought I was malnourished.
Oh, okay.
So she was giving me something. I think it's, what do you call it? What do you call it? This one made by bee. Honey mixed with other things. Anyway, whatever it was, me, I enjoyed it. And I drank a whole bottle full, and I was the same person. I didn't increase a bit. So I think when I finished one bottle, she stopped calling me during break.
After seeing no improvement.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was my stature.
Yeah.
Even now, in my old age, I'm still smallish. So that was it. But I remember I was telling my fellow day girls that the way the medicine is so sweet, I'll also go and become a sister so that I'll be giving people medicine to make them enjoy the sweetness of life. That was my mind. Yeah. So that carried me throughout the basic school until I went to secondary school. In my family, we are 9 siblings. Okay. And I'm the 8th born. Actually, the 2nd born died 2 weeks after birth. So okay. I'm the 8th born. I have 2 siblings after me.
And are your parents still alive?
No, they have all gone to the Lord, hopefully. Yeah. And I felt this idea from class 1, it didn't leave my head. It was still ringing in my ears. And when I went to secondary school, my senior siblings, they used to, especially the females, they used to take it upon themselves to look after some of these seminarians who eventually become priests. So one of them, he was still a seminarian. I went to school one day and I decided that during vacation I'll go and visit my senior most sister at Agogo. And this seminarian came to visit my sister. So when he came, he saw me. And he started telling a story that, as for your mother, God has blessed her with so many children. But he is wondering whether one of them could become a religious. We are 6 females. One of us become a religious. It will be very great. When he said that, I turned my head to the east whilst he was sitting at the western side. Because I felt, even if I will be, he's not the one to put his mouth, kind of. Then after that, he continued. Among all your siblings, you are the only one who can, he directed it to me, among all the siblings, I'm the only one who can go because the stage where I have reached, I can do the work. So I told him if God has blessed him and he is a seminarian and he wants to become a priest, he should thank his God, but he shouldn't disturb me because I'm only a student in a secondary school. I haven't reached anywhere. And that there are 2 other siblings after me. He should go and tell that story to. and let me have my peace. And he kept saying, oh, and you know, among all the siblings, you are the only one who is very good academically. Then I got to know that my sisters have been discussing me
Okay.
with the seminarian. And then that there will be nothing wrong if I become a sister, because if I become a sister, it will be like my mother, he was saying it, my mother has sacrificed me. Of all the children God has given her, she is showing her thanksgiving to God by sacrificing me for the work of God. And I asked him, how do you know? Are you the one to tell me what my mother is thinking or should do? Oh, he didn't bother. He kept saying, So I said to myself, why is this gentleman disturbing me? Anyway, because of him, I had to cut my holidays with my sister short. And I came back to Cape Coast to continue. Then, whilst I was in school, secondary school, we did the 5-year secondary school education, Form 5. That time I was in Form 2, and every term, this seminarian will write and remind me that I should consider the suggestion he made the last time when he met me for the first. And I was wondering what was his problem. Because I myself, my concentration was on my education. And I will always reply, surprisingly, I couldn't tell him I won't do what he's saying, but I always said, oh, wait, when I finish Form 3, I will tell you whether I'm ready or not. Then he will continue, the next time, he will write letters. Why am I delaying? And it continued until Form 5. When I reached Form 5, I told him when I finish my GCE O levels, I'll give him my answer. So after Form 5, immediately I came home to Cape Coast. He started writing. And I told him, oh, he should wait. When the results come, and I know my position in the education level, I can willingly decide where to go. The results came. My sisters sent him the results. And then he wrote, oh, you said when the results come out, and you have done very well. So now you should be ready to enter the religious life. I told him he shouldn't bother me, that I'm waiting when I go to sixth form. Luckily, I was invited to sixth form at Mfantsiman. As soon as I went, first year, he wrote, remember you said when you get to the sixth form, you will be able to tell me. So I said, oh, he should wait. When I finish sixth form, I'll have a nice conversation with him and then I'll tell him my mind. So after finishing sixth form, when the results came, he wrote again. I didn't know what was wrong with this boy, but he was continuing with his seminary life. And after sixth form, I went to do my national service at Emisano Primary School. So after the 1 year, I decided to think about my life. And there was one former mate I had in the secondary school who was also from Cape Coast. She had decided she was going to be a sister and even to join the OLA already. But me, we were both from Cape Coast, but I never discussed my personal matters with her. As soon as I finished my national service, we met at Mass at the cathedral one day, and then she told me to come and visit her. So I went to visit her. And then she told me that, oh, for me, what I want to do with my life is to be a sister. And I've already seen the OLA sisters. They have given me the green light. What about you? And I said, it's you who want to be a sister. So if you want to be a sister, go ahead. Me, I'm still thinking about my life. Then she asked me whether I'm engaged to be married. I laughed because that time I was like a dot going to marry. Oh, I had a good laugh about that. And then I told her, oh, not that I'm engaged to anybody, but only like, me, I don't think I want to be. My reason was that I felt this is a secret. And that if I want to be, I shouldn't discuss it with anybody. So anytime they told me, they suggested, I put them aside and life went on. So this lady, she told me, what is it that is, she asked me, what is it that is blocking me from becoming a sister? Then I also asked her, but you two, what do you see in me that makes you think I can be a sister? I have other interests in life and so on. Anyway, we parted. Then, as I was saying, the whole thing was as if I wanted to be, and at the same time, it was as if I'm not ready. And that it is too heavy a responsibility. I was thinking, looking at myself, I may not be able to handle. So if worse comes to worse, I will let it go. That was how I was managing the whole thing. I didn't know that if such an idea comes to somebody, the best thing for the person to do is to discuss it with those involved so that they could give a direction. For me, I thought it's a secret. And I was enjoying the secrecy of the whole drama. Then one day, I went to church, Sunday service, cathedral. As soon as I entered the church and I genuflected, I looked up back at the altar, and at the sanctuary at the back, there's this resurrected Jesus with the hand like this, the statue. As soon as I genuflected and I looked there, I mean, I've been going to the church since I was born. So this day, when I looked at the statue, I didn't see it as a statue. Anyway, I saw it as a human being beckoning me like this. Come, 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 3 times. Immediately, I sat in the pew and bent down my head. I started asking myself, what am I seeing? Is this still not a statue? Why is the statue now looking like a human being? And the thing is saying I should come. Where does the thing want me to go? Hey, what is this? So I've been throwing the idea away, and now it's like Jesus is facing me and calling me directly. Since I don't want to discuss the issue with somebody who knows something about religious life, Jesus now himself is coming to call me. Anyway, I bent down my head again until Mass was over. When I went for communion, I made sure I didn't look down there. So after Mass, when I went home, I said to myself, I will not go to church again, because if I go, I will see that thing, which was very disturbing to me. And I said this because somehow I felt I'm not worthy for that. I cannot do it. And that is like what I went through. The drama was forcing me to say yes. So the next Sunday, I didn't go for service. Then the second Sunday, not knowing my mother has been watching me closely. So the third Sunday, after waking up, the way she saw me, she knew I wasn't going to go anyway. So she confronted me and asked me, hey, are you not getting ready to go for service? I said, oh, no, I'm not going. Then she said, what do you mean? You better go and bath. I'm waiting for you. The 2 of us will go together. Then I asked her, why is she disturbing me like that? She said, I'm not disturbing you. For the past 3 weeks, I've been watching you. I haven't been going to service. And this is unlike you. So today, me and you, we are going together. And if you don't go, we shall see who gave birth to who. I got frightened because my mother has never spoken like that to me before. So anyway, I quickly, in obedience, bathed, got ready, and she went with me to the church. So whilst we were going, I was meditating and warning myself, when you go, don't look at the statue. When you go, look at the statue. I didn't tell anybody. So anyway, we entered, and after the genuflection, I didn't look back. But in the middle of the consecration, I forgot myself and I looked at the statue. And again, the beckoning was coming. And I could hear distinctly, come, come. And it happened 3 times. So this time, I didn't even go for communion at all. Then when we closed, I quickly left the church And I had to wait for my mother, and we went home. In fact, I was seriously disturbed. And the disturbance came because even though I felt the drama, inside me, I didn't want to do that work. I didn't want it. But then, one day, I was in the house when a cousin of mine, a priest, Father Myers specifically, came to our house. And those days, I used to feel very shy of him. So anytime he entered the house, I would leave the house. But this day, he came to meet me in the house, and for some reason, I couldn't walk out. And then my sisters asked of his mission, and he said, it's because of me he came. My heart jumped. Then he met me outside the house. He called me to follow him to the car. I followed. Then just outside the gate, he told me, have you visited the OLA sisters? I said, no, Father. And then he said, I'm just coming from there. I said, eh. And then he said, when I went, the sisters gladly informed me that you are going to be one of them. I started sweating. I didn't respond.
You had not written to them at that time?
No, I hadn't said anything to them. I started sweating. Then I asked him, who went to tell them that I wanted to be one of them? And he told me that this supposed friend who told me she was going, she had gone to tell the sisters that I wanted to be a sister, but I couldn't decide. So he's coming to tell the sisters so that they spread it and then help me to join her to go. You have found your vocation, you won't go alone. You are looking for a companion who is not decided. That was how I put it in my head. Then Father said when he went, the sisters joyfully told him that I was going to be. And he was surprised because if this was what I was going to do, he knew he would be the first person I would discuss it with. So when he heard the thing from, he was wondering. So anyway, by this time we had reached his car. And he said I should enter the car. I entered the car and I was sitting, sweating, breathing fast. Then he asked me, Martha, do you want to be a sister? I bent down my head and I was sweating profusely. Even though the windows were open and air was entering the car. Then he held me and asked me to look straight into his eye. And you know, in our culture, when we are talking to adults, we don't do that. Yeah. But he forced me to do that. So from time to time, I'll bend down my head, say, hey, look up. I want to see your eye. Anyway, so he asked me again, do you want to be a sister? And I asked him, Father, why are you asking me this question? He said, but I have heard. So I want to find out from you. And then he told me, look, that work is very difficult. I won't deceive you. It is very, very difficult. Serving the Lord is not easy. But I want you to tell me, do you think you can give a try to it? I was shivering. And then, thank God, eventually I told him, oh, Father, I will try. As soon as I said I will try, it was as if they have poured cold water over me. And then there was this kind of joy coming from within. And I felt so much at peace and so relaxed. And then Father held my hand and asked me to go home. And then he asked me whether I've told my parents. I said no. And he said, okay, you tell them whatever they say, let me know. I was walking from the roadside to the house. And whilst moving, I felt as if I was floating in the air. And there was this inner joy that had filled me that, I don't know, I didn't feel I was walking. Then, as soon as I entered the gate of the house, my senior brother, I come after him. He saw me at the gate and said, where are you coming from? I didn't talk. Then he told me, your face is shining. Where are you coming from? I said, my face is shining. Well, of course, I can't see my face. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. I only smiled. Then upon entering our sitting room, I met a senior sister of mine. And she also met me at the door and said, sister, where are you coming from? I said, I just went to see Father Myers off. I said, your face is looking somehow. Hey. Then I said to myself, is it because I have said I want to be a sister? That's why God is putting, is it shiny paint or whatever on my face? And people are talking to me about this. But I tell you, the peace I had, that inner joy, I know even till today, since I entered religious life, I have never felt that peace or inner joy again. But then, it is something that tells me that at the end of my life as a religious, I will experience it. And that will be when I believe I will be united with God for eternity. So, my own was a drama. Anyway, after this, when I told my parents, I remember I told my father first. And then later on, I went to tell my mother. My mother is not educated. So when I told her, she said, those who become sisters, they don't go to sixth form. It's after form 5 they go. But you have finished sixth form. It means you have passed the sisterhood. You cannot go. Anyway, I just smiled. Then I went behind the house. My father came to the kitchen. I was standing behind the house listening to the two of them. I knew my mother would say something to him. So I heard my mother telling my father, hey, have you heard what Martha is saying? My father said, what did she say? He said, she came and told me she wants to be a sister. Then she started, but she has finished sixth form. Sisters only go to form 5 and become sisters. But if she has gone to sixth form, it means she's beyond sisterhood. She shouldn't go. Then my father said, look, that girl, it is God who gave her to us. So if the God who gave her to us has decided to take her to himself and make him serve him in his vineyard, who are we to say no? Let her go. I was happy behind the building there, so excited. I said, thank God the thing is working for me, fast. Then I came back. When I came back, my mother didn't say anything. Then the following day, my siblings met me. And they told me that, we have heard that they say you are going to be a sister. Have a blessing. It shall be well in this. And they were all excited for me. Then what this seminarian was saying, that among all my siblings, he thinks I'm the only one at this stage who could be, the whole thing started playing back in my mind. I said, I see. And then I remembered that when I was in class 1, I said I will be a sister so that I will also be giving people sweet medicine to take so that they will enjoy life. You know, the whole thing came back together. After that, the following Sunday, I met this one who went and mentioned my name to the sisters. I met her. And she didn't tell me she had earlier on gone to the sisters, but she didn't know I was also heard. So as soon as she said, hey, how are you? I said, I'm fine. I said, so what's next? I said, what next for what? She said, are you deciding to go with me? I said, yes. I have told Father Myers, so I'll go and try. And she was so excited. The two of us, we were in the third heavens. But that day, when I went to church, that is after this drama, When I went to the same church, I looked at the statue, nothing happened. So Jesus has finished his work.
Exactly.
That time he wanted to give me a very important message. And after that message, and with the, is it a vision or a trance, whatever I saw, he was giving a message. And the message had gone down well with him. So he doesn't need to show himself as a human being, but he showed himself as a statue. And since then, I've never seen that statue beckon me again, because I've already entered.
Yeah. You have a very beautiful story.
Thank you.
You know, usually we hear of such stories in when we read the lives of saints. Usually that is when we come across stories like this. You have a very beautiful story. We'll continue with
you,
it.
sister.
But then let's take a short break here. We'll come back later.
Okay.
Welcome back to Religious Vocation Digest here on Cafdil TV. Today we're having a vocation profile of Sister Martha Davis, an OLA sister. The first part was very interesting with a very beautiful story there. Let's go back to her to continue and then hear what she has for us. So finally you said yes.
Yes.
And agreed to go to the convent.
Yes, please.
Fast forward, you started your formation.
Yes.
Where exactly?
I started my formation in Cape Coast
Okay.
Convent.
Okay.
But there's a bungalow attached for the sisters. That was where we had the postulancy.
With your
and
friend?
we were six, yes, we were six in number.
Okay.
And I was working at St. Augustine's secondary school.
Okay.
Down there, I was teaching science there.
Okay.
So we did this for quite some time, about 5 months or so. And then after that, we had a break. And then we came back and continued. We had a white sister who was our postulant mistress. And then there were other black OLA sisters, Ghanaians, who were with her also. Okay. And my mother was a cook in the OLA training college. Okay. So we were close by. So from time to time when she's passing, if we are there, she will shout, "Is Martha here?" Then they will say, "Your mother is calling you." I'll go out, we have a chat, come back. And then sometimes the sisters used to ask my mother to do certain things for them. So when she's going, she will let me know that she's at the boarding house or something like that.
Okay.
And we meet, and she will be asking me, how is it? I'll tell her, oh, it's fine. But as Father told me from the word go, I knew that the work is not easy. To be trained to become a sister is not easy. There were ups and downs, sometimes among my own mates, and sometimes with our mistress, and sometimes with some of the sisters. But one thing I know is that there were some of the sisters who would always call us and advise us and tell us that, oh, the life is not just straightforward. Oh, sometimes it could be like this. So with what the sisters were doing with us, it made us know the reality on the ground that we shouldn't think because we are going to be sisters, everything should be rosy. I mean, we were told in the face straight away. And there were times we shared a lot of joy and laughter. And other times in the training, we had to be put on our feet with discipline so that you know what you are going in for. And each time we were being asked, reflect over this place you have come to, for all the experiences you are going through. Do you think God is still calling you to become a religious? Then from time to time, they too will call us and tell us, I have seen that your behavior is going this way or going that way, positive and negative. So try and help yourself with a change of life in this way or that way. And in the end, I think it was quite good.
When did you have your novitiate? Also
We
in
were
Cape
asked
Christian?
we were asked to get ready for when we went for the last holiday in our family.
Okay.
We had to come back to go to Nigeria for our novitiate. And I remember we went by air. And that was my first time of even seeing an aeroplane and even entering it. I remember when we entered the plane, I was frightened small. But when we entered the plane, I just looked back on land and said to myself, hey, so me too, I have climbed some. I was excited and at the same time afraid. And I remember when the plane was taking off, I felt as if I was dying. But when we landed in Nigeria, it was just 45 minutes in the air. But when we landed in Nigeria, the landing was very, very smooth. One didn't even feel like descending from the atmosphere. But it was quite good, and the sisters were there to receive us. And they sent us on to Ibadan in Nigeria. That was where we had our formation.
Any brouhaha in the formation house?
Okay. We were 2 nationalities, 6 Ghanaians and 6 Nigerians. But in the course of time, one of the Nigerians got a dangerous sickness and she had to go home. She never came back again.
Okay.
And then my group too, when we were going, 2 of them were asked not to accompany us. So when we arrived, we were 4. In Nigeria, we were 4. Ghanaians were 4, and the Nigerians also later on became 3. So it was not easy meeting Nigerians because we are 2 different groups of people. Yeah. Ghanaians are generally, calm. I say gentle, calm. Nigerians are boisterous and strong-faced and terribly open. They say anything at any time. But Ghanaians, we have this culture of silence, which is always the first thing we come to before even thinking of any other thing to do. But gradually, we got to know them. They also got to know us. And they were our mates for the period, 2 years. And the training there was tougher than the training we had in Ghana. Because the novitiates, I would say, I felt there was no time to fool or rest. Every day we were on our toes, seriously going through one program and the other and so on and so forth. I guess it was when we went out for manual work that we had time to chat our way, even though we still work. And there, it was no joke business. One had to be very, very serious. And we didn't have family ties there. There was nothing like getting a call from Ghana. Everything was business for the religious life. And the teaching went on with seriousness. We were more hemmed in. We didn't go out. But there were certain times in the second year we were allowed to join other committees for sessions or workshops. Like the Dominicans, when we met like that in a group, we had the Dominicans, the Eucharistic Heart Sisters, the Medical Missionary Sisters, And then we had ourselves, OLAs. Yeah, we had these sessions, and they contributed to, will I say, a good variety of teachers or lecturers helping us, so that it will not only be OLAs. But when we went back to the novitiate, the sisters, OLA sisters, took over between the history of the congregation, the story about the founder, the spirituality, charism, and so on. We were taught. But then it was not just teaching. We were made to take in some of these values they talked about, and we were meant to also put it into practice there in the novitiate for them to see, so that when one was going wayward, the mistress was already there to point out to you. The other day we heard this about the charism. What you are doing, are you in line with the charism, or you are far away? Are you interested in me, sister? So kind of, we were put in shape, let me put it that way, as regards how one can be an OLA sister.
Yeah. Your friend,
We were there together.
where is she now?
Oh, she has passed on. She was during the time for our final vows. Unfortunately, she was asked to go home. So when she went home, after a few years, she got sick, seriously sick, and died.
May she continue to rest with the Lord.
Amen.
Yeah.
But for me, the way I see her, it was like she brought me in.
Yes, so that she can live.
That's how
She
I
was
see
only there to ensure that you are there.
there. Because the step she took, I thought was a bold one.
Yeah.
She didn't discuss it with me, she went ahead. And the way the whole thing came, it was like, take it.
Yeah. You taught at, is it KNC?
Yes, I was,
Oh, there is a secondary school in the Volta region.
I taught in OLA Secondary School, Ho.
Who?
That time I was a pupil teacher. That was after coming back from the novitiate. I was asked to teach there, so I was pupil teaching. I was teaching science from Form 1 to Form 3. Then, after 2 years, I went to the university. The sisters took me to Cape Coast University, where I did a bachelor in zoology.
Okay.
So when I finished, I was posted back to OLA Secondary School, Ho. So it was there I started the proper professional teaching. I was teaching health science. That time they were doing health science from Form 4 to Form 5. And then I was teaching general science Form 1 to Form 3. But when I finished the university, I was teaching sixth form, biology in sixth form. And then 1 year after that, I entered into the administration because the then assistant head was a lay woman whose husband had been transferred to Accra. So the sister who was then in charge of the school needed a support. So she taught me how to be an assistant head. And then gave me that role. And I did that for 2 years. It was after that that I was sent to Nigeria for formation course. 2 years. And then when I came back, I was to have come to work here as a formator. But the then provincial team felt there was one here already, so I was asked to go to OLA Girls Secondary School in Kenya to continue teaching.
Okay.
But when I went there, because I had been an assistant before in OLA, I was asked to assist the white sister who was the headmistress then.
Okay.
So I assisted her for 3 years. And then after that, the sister went on pension. But before she left, she came to the provincial team to tell them that after working with me as an assistant, she felt I was the only one who could help bring her vision for the school to fulfillment. So they should ask me to take over. So I took over from her in 2005 as an acting head. And I did that till 2013.
Okay.
After which I left and then entered formation.
Okay. As a teacher, as a formator, how strict are you?
Oh, I'm terribly strict. That one I won't hide it because from my parents, both parents were strict. So I was brought up in that atmosphere. And I think I went to St. Lucy's Secondary School, where the German sisters who were heading the school were also strict. So I got some more value in strictness from there. Then I think at Infant Master's form I relaxed a bit. But I realized that disciplined life, that strict life made me become disciplined. So when I entered the religious life, their rules, going by their rules was not a problem for me because I was already having the disciplined life. And I also realized that it is when you are disciplined that your goals become realized. So for me, strictness is my water, my food, my everything. So even in my work in formation, if we have to adhere to rules that will make us people of God, I have to make sure you follow that too. Because for me, it has helped me. At least I know I'm not a lazy religious. I work hard. So those who are under me, I make them also see the usefulness in working hard. So that if you are lazy, when you are placed under my care, you will suffer a bit. But eventually, when you pick it, it will help yourself.
I asked this question of strictness because one of your former students, who is also a religious now, once told me when they were in school, you were very strict and some of the students even nicknamed you. But those ones after school, when they come, it is you they ask for. And wherever they meet any sister, especially the SMMC sisters, because the person is an SMMC sister, they always ask of Sister Martha. We appreciate what she did for us. She was really strict. That time we thought she was being wicked to us, but now we appreciate the women she has trained us to be. So that is how come I asked that question.
We thank God for that.
Yes. Yes, and I think one lay person also who experienced, you also shared that same. After one of our discussions on this same program, that Sister Martha, she taught me and this, but I'm grateful to God I met her somehow because she has shaped me to be who I am today. Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. In your field as a formator, when you look at your generation as a young sister and today the Gen Z sisters, what do you make of the two?
When we were younger, we didn't follow this idea of anything goes. For us, everything was important.
Yeah.
And the seriousness with which we regarded the sisterhood was there. But these days, the young ones, I don't know. It's like, whatever it is, let us take it like that. Whatever it is, let it be like that. That is me. Leave me to be. But if we leave you to be, what you are may not be fitting into the religious life. So then who are you? You are a religious with one leg inside and one leg outside. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
But then there are also some, I'm talking about the young ones, who are also serious. And with a little bit of push, they will even be better than what we were in the olden days. I know there are some like that. But I don't know. Whatever it is, I guess it's an age. You know, it's an age. And that God himself, in his own way, will know how to turn things round when it comes to them being in charge or at the helm of affairs. That is how I look at it.
Yeah. So what are some of your challenges as a formator dealing with young ones, especially of different nationalities?
Oh. For me, I don't see the nationality as a problem because as OLAs, we have been trained to live intercultural life. So right from the word go, as postulants, novices, we are told about this. So by the time you are professed, you are used to living with different people. So that is not so much of a problem. But it is rather the human person, not so much nationalities. It's the human person. Every way of living. And if you have to be part of that particular life, you must find yourself following the rubrics. Not this kind of thing that anything goes. I was surprised when I heard from some of the formatees that when they asked them of their challenges, they said, the vows are a challenge. As soon as I heard that, I burst out and said, if the vows you have been trained in to live is your challenge, then you can't be a religious. You are in the wrong place. And then when I said that, they all opened their eyes and they were looking at me. It's like, I'm coming from the moon. But that is it. The very vows that you are going to live, if it's
Your challenge.
It's a challenge for you. Then have you started becoming a religious? Are we saying there's no value in it? For which reason it is a challenge? For me, my first thing will not be a challenge, the vow being a challenge. We are, in any case, as soon as you enter, you start living it. As soon as you enter, you start living it. And that time, you are studying yourself, whether you want to be like that or you don't want to be. And in any case, there's no compulsion from any angle. It's a free decision you are taking. And the covenant is between you and your God. And the various events in the religious life helps you to answer this call that you think God is giving you. So in those various events, you keep asking yourself, for what had happened, and I'm sad or happy, do I still feel that God is calling me to himself in his vineyard? There's no time that anybody is forced into it. So if from day one, the vows are a challenge, maybe it's better you find yourself out so that you'll be free. In any case, even when you go out, you are not free. Because even in marriage, you have to forget who you were and stay with your husband who also has to forget who he was, and then you merge and try to be who you want to be. So it's everywhere. The vows in marriage and the vows in the religious life are meant to be lived. So you don't see that one as a challenge. You try. You are already in it. So you try to, keep it. I'm not saying there are no difficulties. I mean, there are times you felt maybe let me use the poverty for instance. What you are going in for.
Yeah. With this issue of the youth leaving the church, or considering the last housing and population census in Ghana, it was said that the percentage or the number of Catholics is declining. Father Martino once said he doesn't believe so. He believes rather that some people were not counted, because even him, he was not counted. So probably it's because most of us Catholics were not counted. That is why probably they had that number, not as we are declining in number. If, let's say it is so that we are declining, that the number is going down, what do you think are some of the contributing factors, and what do you also think that we can do to keep this youth in the church?
For me, my problem with that one, I would say, is brought up by broken families. The Catholic family those days that stayed together is no more staying together these days. And once something happens in the marriage and there's separation, once the separation comes, the children don't feel obliged to be Catholics. They feel they have to seek refuge in other religious groups. And when they go, they, will I say, bring them closer to their pastors and their elders and so on. So immediately they go, they give them roles to play in the churches. It isn't that in the Catholic Church they cannot take on roles, but it's like they become very active when they go to other churches. But in their own church, the dullness remains. Because these days, we are seeing young girls who have become ushers, those who are mass serving, they are, moving up small, by taking on small duties in the church, cleaning of the church, ensuring that everything is done at the right time before the service begins. They are doing all these things, but when they go to other churches, they tell them that it's like, in my church, nobody noticed me. I was left on my own. But over here, I have seen that the young ones are doing this and they are doing this, and then they remain. But I also know that there are some who go out and they come back to the church as they grow. Some are coming back. But I think the church will have to enforce its catechesis. And the priests must also try and help them with meetings of some sort to pep them up in the Lord. Youth groups particularly. When we were smaller, there were times the priests would have a cinema show. Those days, it wasn't even on the screen. They have something they have to roll and roll and roll. And we enjoyed it. Just to have and always talk to them about how to be able to look after their children and train them in the Lord, And once you tell them some of these topics, you have a whole session for them, they pick it up. And then when they go home, they try to even discuss it with their children. And the children will also be talking about it. Other children will hear about it. And then in the end, you form a whole group of people who are Catholics and who know something about whatever topics you taught them. And I think they need to see, the various groups need to see the priests also. I know sometimes they are also very busy going for outstation programs and so on, but they have to be with their parishioners also. I am not talking about one-on-one. One-on-one becomes necessary if there's a problem. But like further meeting the various groups and finding out how their, their society, whatever group they join, how it is going on, how they manage. Maybe they even have a problem. They can tell him, he will discuss it with them and they themselves come out with solutions to some of those problems. When they see the priest, they are happy. And these days, I think the number of priests is increasing. Yeah. I may be wrong, but I think that is it. So that those who go for outstation should not be the same people who will come and meet the various groups. It can be shared, the work can be shared. This one goes for outstation, the next one, the other person meets the groups for the different days of their meetings, you know. And all this will revive the drooping spirit of most of the parishioners, both young and old. You know, we can refresh our memories on the things of God. And this kind of thing can revive the spirit of majority of the church members. Okay. It isn't so much, I'm a priest, I'm a catechist, you leave the parishioners alone. There should be, what? Meetings between them.
Yeah. That is, they always being present with the parishioners.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, our time is almost up, but I would like to ask this one question. In 50 years' time, when you are no more, what will you be remembered for?
Oh. Well, I know I work hard, and I know I'm able to make people have a feel of God. And I try to serve others in humility. And I also love being with the youth and helping them shape their lives in the Lord. And I enjoy making people happy.
Obviously, yes.
And then I feel elated when people pass through me and they are able to perform even better than I used to do. And that is my pride.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have listened to Sister Martha's vocation story and you are still not inspired enough to be a sister, that is when you have the desire but you are trying to resist it, then I don't know what else you are waiting for, or maybe probably you are also waiting for the crucifix to appear in your house and then call you to come to the convent or to the seminary. Whatever it is, remember, the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. That is why we always pray to the Lord of the harvest to send more laborers into his vineyard. So he is calling you as a young man, as a young woman. Do not hesitate. Speak to your parish priest, visit any religious house closer to you, express your desire, and you'll be given direction from there. Sister Martha, as we sign off for today, speak to the youth out there, especially regarding their commitment to the service of God.
If anybody ever gets the burning zeal to serve the Lord, and then by God's grace, the person is courageous enough to decide to come and join the people working in the Lord's vineyard, it means God is ready to shape you into a tool that he will use to spread the good news to mankind. And so if you get this glorious opportunity, do not throw it to the dogs, because not many people are called. So if God calls and you get the grace to respond to the call, and eventually you embrace it, try and come out with the conviction that the Lord has called you, and he will give you the grace to be able to become his ambassador wherever you are, and that you will serve and serve him with dignity, so that the glory of the Lord will spread everywhere. So whatever responsibility that has been given you after you have decided to make the choice to be in the Lord's vineyard, hold tight onto it, because you never know. That may be the only good service you offer to other people as a religious in the world, for which you will be able to stand straight before God when you die, to give an account of the work you have done whilst you were alive. So when the opportunity comes and you are blessed to respond, please don't just do anything and tell yourself that anything goes. Hold tight onto it. It is not like anything goes. It is what must be done that should be done, not for your glory, but for the glory of God. And you will never regret it, because when God calls, he beautifies you and uses you as his ambassador and sends you out there to preach the good news.
Yeah, so whatever you do for the church, you do not do it for your own glory, but for the glory of God. Thank you very much, Sister Martha.
You are welcome, sister.
We are grateful to you for this beautiful vocation story you have shared with us. Very inspiring, and for the wisdom attached to it. We hope that we will have you another time to share more of this. I know we've not exhausted everything, but then for the sake of time, we have to cut it short here. So we are very much grateful.
You are welcome, sister.
And to you viewers out there, thanks for staying tuned to Cafdil TV and then doing this discussion with us. If you have encountered Sister Martha in any way, kindly send us your comments or a shout out to Sister Martha at the comment section. Facebook is Cafdil Cape Coast, YouTube is Cafdil EDU. Do well to join us again next week for another edition of Religious Vocation Digest. Good evening.
Yes.
We didn't say it has to be 380 or we won't sponsor the person. It was very much the kid has to be consistently in the top 3.
The people who are giving this scholarship, no marore mudo yani mudo ogitongoria yani.
We'll pass over.
Igikorwo na ihinda ta ria kana ngoro ndi munene handu ingira andu matige kurwa na ma promote peace thayo noguo mwega na maririkane to Kenya ni nene gutukira gutwarana na kio kahota gugika wega yani koguo ni ndina mwihoko ni ngukinyia
Kani nguheo scholarship nĩ ndĩreyũria kana nĩ nguheo nĩ ndiũria maheanaga.
We got up to number 7.
This to me looks like a compelling case. Also, we have to look at the point that gender balance. Yeah, the girl child in public schools has different challenges.